Oh no.
You love the Muppets. Yes. And if you don't, I really have nothing to say to you whatsoever. You gotta love the Muppets and everything they entail. Exactly. Christina, you did an interesting post today. Instead of me droning on about it, why don't you just talk about this story about the Muppets?
Okay, it's awesome. So, no, it is. It's awesome. So they are going to make something that it's a playlist says they have the inside scoop on the next Muppet film, which is being called the greatest Muppet movie ever. And it sounds just like it's the greatest Muppet movie ever. Okay, first of all, the guy that's directing it is from Flight of the Conchords.
Nice.
Okay, so that right there, I'm sold. I'm like,
yeah, no, this sounds like the best thing ever.
I'm sold. But then it gets even better. Jason Segel and the guy that directed Forgetting Sarah Marshall are writing the script. Now, if you saw Forgetting Sarah Marshall, you know that one of the highlights of the movie, which was a very funny movie, I might add, was this whole Dracula puppet musical at the end. And actually,
and of course, the scene in the movie where he's alone, but with his piano just playing the theme to the Muppet movie.
Yes. And the Jim Henson Company actually made all of the puppets for that sequence.
I didn't know that.
End.
I want to see that made into a musical for real.
Yes. No, I mean, it was. It was like, Avenue Q or
awesome.
whatever, but it was great. And so taking people who clearly love puppets and clearly love that sort of thing, and then Flight of the Conchords, and then all the Muppet characters and all of, the weird Muppet humor, and oh my God, it's like the greatest Muppet movie ever, which, I mean, I'm like psyched, and I don't even have to like know anything else. You just have to say Flight of the Conchords and Jason Segel, and I was like, sold.
I remember like a year ago when the news first came out that Jason Segel actually approached the Jim Henson Company with this idea that he wanted to do a Muppet movie. I mean, he loves the Muppets legitimately. Yeah. And we did this story about a year ago, and I remember thinking, okay, well, this probably isn't going to have legs. This probably isn't going to go anywhere. And then out of nowhere, boom, it's happening. And I think this is awesome news. Personally, I think this is great.
I think this sounds like the greatest thing ever. I actually love Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I love that. I was already a Jason Segel fan from Freaks and Geeks.
Freaks and Geeks.
So, yeah, I know, right? And then I was like, man, he can write, and I loved the idea of the Dracula musical, and I wanted to see it really made. And so, yeah, I'm exactly with you. If you put all of these things together, it's like the greatest movie ever.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah. And if you've seen the YouTube things of the Bohemian Rhapsody of the Muppets, and then they had one yesterday with Beaker's Ballad where all the YouTube comments come in, like,
completely on my Facebook.
Yes. So, like, clearly the people at Disney who own the rights to the Muppets now, and as well as the Jim Henson Company who still does the puppets, like, they clearly are in touch with what, like, today's Muppet fans, young and old are into. So I think this is really, really cool.
And, I'm kind of into watching on-demand shows. So, if I miss The Office or whatever, I can just go onto on-demand and watch it. The little commercials they've had on my on-demand for Time Warner lately.
Yes.
That's been the little Muppet stuff, right? For community
so
service.
The pre-Disney thing. Yeah,
and I howl at these things every single time because Miss Piggy in these commercials is pretty much the physical and spirit representation of half the girls I've dated in my life. And so I get a big... But it's great seeing a Muppet resurgence. It is awesome seeing them come back as puppets and not CGI. I think this is terrific news. But listen, we got to move on. We still got a couple other things to cover here. This is interesting and yet completely not surprising. Coming off, just finished filming a new spy film for himself. Tom Cruise has this new film coming out called Day and Night, a spy comedy action film he's doing with
Cameron Diaz.
Thank you very much. Former Mrs. Justin Timberlake. And he's coming off that, and I guess he really wants to keep doing the spy things, and I guess he just keeps wanting hit films, because it's been announced that he is back on board. They are going to be doing a Mission Impossible 4. He's going to be producing it with J.J. Abrams. Once again, no big surprise. J.J. was, of course, the director and writer of the third installment of the Mission Impossible series, which I actually thought was the best one of the series so far. And J.J.'s bringing along a couple of his alias writers to write the script. Does this surprise either of you at all?
No, I think it's a risk. I mean, I think that audiences will... I think things are a little bit different now. I think that a bad movie will not survive even with a really big actor in it. So I don't know if actors have the pull that they used to have in that sense. Movie stars, a few of them do. But I think that if someone's really hated, that can pull down even a good movie. And I think that that's a little bit what happened with the last Mission Impossible. And I think it's The question
Well, and the
becomes-
studio pointed specific. I remember some reps from the studio specifically
Summer
pointed.
Redstone was the one who he like shoot out Tom Cruise basically.
Right, and they pointed to with the War of the Worlds that
Right.
War of the Worlds did okay, but didn't do nearly as well as they thought it would.
Right.
They pointed to Tom Cruise antics.
Well, it did over $400 million, so I
Yes.
don't think War of the Worlds could be. I mean, like we're saying it did okay. It did almost $500 million. So I mean,
Yeah.
but it's just
right,
it
but I
wasn't the
remember
biggest
the
movie
studio
ever.
did project more. They thought it
Oh
would
no,
make
they
a lot
did.
more.
Well, his whole PR campaign, his personal PR campaign with that film was a disaster.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, it was, and so it'll be interesting to see. You know, the question becomes: are people ready to love Tom Cruise again? You know, but it's
I think
almost
they are.
it's almost less: are they ready to love him again, or are they ready to stop hating him again?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think you're right. But I gotta say, I mean, because I've always been a big Tom Cruise fan, and I was very
Yeah.
angry with a lot of the things he said. Because I mean, Jerry Maguire still like is one of my favorite movies ever, and I can watch
He's
Minority
great.
Report. He's great, and Collateral I thought was actually one of his best films.
I love.
I thought he
also
should have been
like him
nominated for
in-
an Oscar for that.
No,
I
really
did
thought he
too,
should
actually.
have.
Yeah, he was
I
great
thought
in
it was messed
Collateral.
up that Collateral was amazing. I think he was even good in Lions for Lambs. I thought that was a very underrated and very good film.
He was great in Magnolia.
Yeah, no, he's
Yeah.
a great actor, and I've always been a fan of his, and I was very upset with a lot of his comments during the whole World of the Worst thing. But I have to say, like, I'm kind of over it, and I don't know if it's necessarily that people are ready to love him again, but I'm kind of like, at this point, I'm almost having a backlash to the backlash.
Yeah,
So
I think so too.
So if there can be like an Ethan Hunt revival, like, I mean, I thought the third film was good. I mean, I wish that they hadn't killed Felicity, spoiler alert, but because I don't like to see Kerry Russell get killed, but
I love
mean,
her too.
yes, exactly, and that's how I came to love J.J. Abrams. But I mean, I
Yeah.
think that Tom Cruise is great in these films. He's certainly has the physicality to do it, and I mean, clearly, even if it didn't do as well as they were maybe hoping, I think that the Variety said, I mean, that the franchise has done $1.4 billion
Yeah, it's
at the box
huge.
office. I mean, it's a huge franchise. So I think that Brad Gray was the one who came out and said, "Oh no, we're going to support it." Summer Redstone didn't comment, and I think that in this day and age, it kind of makes sense. It's like, hey, we've got this big franchise.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Well, and
explore
I
it.
think Roth is right saying that the question is, are people ready to move on from all the old Tom Cruise stuff? I think that is the question, but I also think the answer is a definitive yes. And the reason is two words: Tropic Thunder. Tom
Yeah.
Cruise made the most brilliant decision to come out and kind of make fun of him. Well, not literally make fun of himself, but play this wacky, weird, crazy. And I'll tell you, the best part of that movie. And when he did that, and dancing like an idiot during the credits and all that kind of stuff, the moment he did that, public perception and opinion of Tom Cruise changed overnight. I think it was a brilliant move. I think people are willing to move on from all the old stuff, and I think Mission Impossible 4 is going to be a hit film. But listen, we've got 45 seconds left here, so I'm going to just skip our Saw 7 news, and we'll go right to this question. And just quickly answer and tell me why. This weekend, opening in AMC theaters everywhere, is Wolfman, Valentine's Day, and Percy Jackson. Now, I'm going to see them all, but if you had just enough money and just enough time to see only one of these films, and you got to make this brief, you got to make this quick, Christina, which one of the three films are you going to go see this weekend?
Wolfman.
Roth?
Wolfman.
And me? Close between Wolfman and Percy Jackson. I'm going to go with Percy Jackson. But listen, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us and watching us here at AMCentertainment.com on
Thank
Script to
you.
Screen.
Thank you.
Roth, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good to talk to you guys.
Christina, thank you for taking time out of your day for us here.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching us. Make sure you come back and check again. And for your daily hits of movie news, come to Script to Screen on AMCentertainment.com. Until then, my name's John Campea.